This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. It's not the afternoon. It feels like it already, though, after last night's football. We're all juiced up, ready to go for Friday. Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Internet world. How we doing today? It's the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com. Hope you and yours are doing well. You're watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. You're checking us out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon. You're watching us on the BamaCentral Facebook page. We're ready for a big week, big last show of the week right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. Call Derek for all your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's a football Friday. It's a football Friday. We're going to talk about the games that happened last night. We're going to talk about football news that happened yesterday. And then we're all going to focus in on Alabama and Florida State. We're going to give you our keys to the game, our keys to victory. We're going to give you our keys to, Alabama winning. We're going to pick our players of the game, players to watch for tomorrow, players that have to have a good game or players that we think will have a good game in order for Alabama to win. We've got a full slate of games to pick at the end of the program. So if you're a gambling man or a gambling woman, you can take our advice to the bank if you'd like to. I will let you know that I am not gambling a single dollar, so that's how much confidence I have in my own picks. I'm sure Mason's wagering his entire week's paycheck and making Melissa very, very happy. But you can take our gambling advice with grains of salt. We will have Katie Windham join us here in just a little bit, apparently, and we'll have Theo Fernandez join us if he wakes up this morning as well. But of course, we're joined by our man, Mason Woods. You can follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. Good morning, Mason. Do you feel it in the air?
I do. Last night was fantastic. There was some chaotic football, as to be expected with the kicking off of real college football. I mean, week 0 happens and, it comes and goes. And yes, it's football, but it never really has the same feel as like actual week 1. But it's here. It is fully here. We had actual football that I genuinely kind of cared about watching last night. And man, it was just nice to have it on my TV. I loved it. I could tell as soon as Melissa walked in the door, she was like, "What? No!" And she could already hear the football on the TV. And it's time. She knows now it's football time. It is what it is.
That's right. It's football time everywhere, and we're so excited to talk about it. We're going to start with Tristan Keys. How about that? We'll start with Tristan Keys because that really started off the football day yesterday. The Tennessee Volunteers. I mean, they went back-to-back news breaks. They went the day before Josh Heupel contract extension, and then boom, Tristan Keys flips from LSU to Tennessee, and my Tennessee fan friend called me, and I asked him if did you send your $5 in? Did you send your $10 in to get Tristan Keys? He was very, very excited.
I mean, he probably should be. I imagine this is potentially a bit of this Adidas money starting to kick in now. I'm not gonna confirm one way or the other. I don't know what that conversation looked like between LSU, between Tennessee as well.
It's still a long time till December.
That is very true. But I have to imagine that you sign that big massive Adidas deal, you become a flagship school for a major sportswear brand. You're probably going to get a big paycheck with it and be able to spend that money accordingly. So maybe this is part of that. But yeah, Tristan Keys is a good player. This is a guy I was at one time hoping he would maybe pick Alabama. It never really seemed like they were super high in the race there. But 6'3" tall, lanky receiver. You watch his highlight tape. I just pulled it up again. I hadn't watched it in a while. The very first play on it is just a highlight, OBJ one-handed, whatever kind of catch. So he's got the skills. Tennessee definitely has him a good one here. It just whether or not they can do everything else around him. And there's been a lot of talk about that offense recently and whether or not it's actually good for players to develop in it or not. So we will see.
Yeah, Josh Heupel went up to Ohio State and saw Ryan Day's crop of receivers, and he said, "Oh, I want one of those. Whatever it takes to bring one of those guys in." So we'll see.
Send him deep every play and have the quarterback hold the ball until he gets open.
Yeah, we'll see if he actually ends up sticking with that Tennessee commitment, or if he flips back to LSU or entertains other programs across the next 3-ish months.
speaking of Tennessee, also, this is a bit, in the same vein as Tennessee, not really having to do with Tristan Keys, but I don't know how I missed this when we talked about Tennessee at all over the last few months. Joey Aguilar threw the 14 interceptions last year. Led the nation in interceptions. So just, I don't know, again, where any confidence is coming for Tennessee fans this season.
Undefeated, national champions, SEC champs.
Whew, we'll see.
Number 1 seed overall.
We will see.
Taking down Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium for the first time since 2003, 5. Oh, it's been a long time.
Man.
Yeah, so we'll see. Good luck. Let's welcome our friend Katie Windham into the program. You can follow Katie Windham at @KatieWindham_ on the Twitter machine. She got bright and early to join us on a Football Friday. Good morning, Katie. How we doing?
Good morning. I love the little Football Friday logo we have going on up there.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the flavor up. Oh, look, Everett Osmer says it is his favorite show. I know that he is excited about football. We appreciate you, Everett, as well. I know you're getting ready to come to that ULM game, the season opener, the home season opener, excuse me. But Katie Windham, how are we feeling about a big old road trip today? You excited? You feel it in the air? I asked Mason if he feels it in the air to open the show.
I feel like since it's away, I'm not like feeling it in the air as much around Tuscaloosa, because normally there is kind of that like buzz around town, around campus. The tents are getting set up, like the students are getting ready for their first game, and because like the way the media schedule is now, where we're like done on Tuesday, like we haven't been around the facility and stuff in a couple of days, because I feel like that's kind of where the energy is. But yeah, I'm excited. I think tonight we're going to stop in Montgomery at my parents' house, eat some dinner, maybe watch the Auburn game there before going to the booming metropolis of Dothan. So,
Casa de Jeff Windham, we appreciate him very, very much supporting the show, and I'm sure that y'all will have a great dinner over there. We'll talk about that Auburn game here in just a little bit. What I want to do is get into last night's UCF game or USF game just a little bit. Last night's Nebraska game just a little bit. Not heavy on either of those. Mason already gave us the scuttlebutt on Tristan Keys. But before we do any of that, we need to. We've been promoting the voicemail line. You guys can call us on the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Leave us your predictions. Leave us your comments on the weekend. I really want you to call tomorrow in the middle of the Alabama game, as Alabama is struggling, as Alabama is winning big, as this game is developing and unfolding. I want you to call the voicemail line. But we have a voicemail from Dax as he's making his predictions for the weekend. So let's start with Dax and see what he has to say.
What is up, guys? It is Dax. Tomorrow is the day we go to Tallahassee. It's only going to be like 80 degrees, and it's probably going to rain. And it is prediction day. I'm giving y'all my score prediction, yard prediction, all the predictions. So we're going to start off with Ty Simpson. I think he's going to get 272 passing yards, 38 rushing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown.
I like it.
Yes, I know Mason's definitely not going to agree with those numbers, but I think he's going to do it. Even though it's going to rain, we're still going to be able to pass the ball. Maybe, I hope. Let's see. And then we've got Ryan Williams with 104 yards and 1 touchdown. Jeremy Bernard with 82 yards and a touchdown. And then, whoever else gets whatever else. And then we've got No Jam Miller. I think Richard Young is going to have 64 rushing yards. Daniel Hill with 48 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Total rushing yards by the running backs will probably be around 164. No, not that high. Actually, no, about 154. I'll say 154.
Okay.
So we've got Ty with 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, and then 1 rushing touchdown. So that puts us at 28. I'll say Richard Young gets a rushing touchdown too. So that puts us at 35, and then we're going to have 2 field goals.
Ooh!
So 41. That's how much we have on the board, is 41 points. Then I think Florida State's going to have more rushing yards than passing yards, especially because of Tim Keenan being out. I think they're going to try to abuse that, and I don't think it's going to work, but they're going to have more rushing yards than passing yards. I think Thomas Castellanos gets, we're going to say, 120 24 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And then their running backs, I don't know who they have. I haven't done really much research on their roster, even though I probably should have before calling y'all. But I think the running backs and Thomas Castellanos, I think they're in total going to run for about 178 yards. No, 190 yards. And Thomas Castellanos with 1 rushing touchdown, and then their running backs with another rushing touchdown and 1 field goal. So that puts Florida State at 17. So that's the score prediction is 41-17. Wow. That's okay. Definitely covering with that one. Like I was texting Joe the other day, I think this Gus bus right here, the tires are going bald. It needs an AC recharge. It probably has an oil change, but I think that's about it. Like it might need, like its transmission's probably about to start slipping soon. I don't think the personnel of this Gus Malzahn run offense is near the personnel that he had with Nick Marshall. That's what I think. I think we're going to Tallahassee and we're going to handle the Seminoles. We're going to do it. Start off 1-0, baby. That's what we like. All right, boys. Love y'all. Love the whole team. Love every Alabama fan in existence. And roll Tide.
Well, there we go. Dax joining us on the voicemail line, letting us know 41-17. You say 41-10.
41-17.
I think so.
Yeah, perfect. Wow, big score
What
for
a
Alabama.
voicemail.
Yeah, perfect. Letting us out, getting us going with a strong prediction. Mason, you got all those yardage numbers written down because we're going to ask you to compare your yardage numbers to Ty Simpson, 260 something and change.
272 for Ty.
Yeah, and so we're going to see what you have to think about that in just a little bit. But we did watch USF. I'm going to do that all the time. We watched USF beat the brakes out of Boise State, and I just want to know, Mason and Katie, are you excited about welcoming USF back to Tuscaloosa for one more time next season? They took a sledgehammer to Boise State's face last night. Mason?
I mean, am I excited? As a football fan, sure, probably going to be a pretty decent game. I don't know that it necessarily translates. Alabama and Boise State are a little different. Boise State, it was pretty evident that Ashton Jeanty was not on that field last night. I don't think USF can necessarily replicate that kind of performance against an Alabama, but I certainly think they can make the Tide sweat, and I would like to see that. So, I mean, I'll say I'm excited for the game. I really probably shouldn't be.
Katie, no Byron Brown next season. He's a senior, the mobile quarterback who really, Mason and I were talking about it, ran over some dudes last night. But did Greg Byrne buy out the wrong game? He bought out the West Virginia game next season. Should he have turned? I know the USF contract was deeper into the contract, so it probably would have been more entanglements there. But did he buy out the wrong game?
I mean, from a personal standpoint, I would have much rather gone to West Virginia, and I've seen enough of Alabama USF. Those 2 games have both been pretty horrid from an Alabama perspective in this series so far. I mean, the 2023 one just will live in infamy for so many reasons. Just truly one of the worst college football games I've ever had to witness. I mean, probably the worst Alabama game, especially, I guess, the worst one that they won. And then last year's game, I think the final ended up being something like 40-14 or something like that. But it was 40 or 14-13, in the fourth quarter. It was Alabama, Mason, you said Alabama's not Boise State, but Alabama or USF's proven that they just kind of can get Alabama in knots. So, I think Brown not being, I wondered if he had any eligibility left. I think, not having him will hurt them, but Alabama could look completely different, or will look completely different next year as well. So
absolutely, and so we'll move on. USF won big. Alvis Golish was in there saying, "Oh, nothing like being a USF Bull." Blah blah blah. And then the next game came on, and
what's going to happen though?
Tell us.
Byron Brown's about to get another year of eligibility.
But Alex Golish is going to take the Arkansas job or the Kentucky job.
Oh no, hey, that'd be fine.
He's going to get hired by Kentucky or Arkansas or LSU
or LSU. The shadow realm. Yeah. He's a great coach, but I think that is where careers go to die is Kentucky.
Ugh, don't do that, Alex Gold. Go to Arkansas or LSU if they end up moving on from their current two coaches. We watched Nebraska. I watched Nebraska painfully. I watched Nebraska, the Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce cutaway game, and every time Kelce and Swift came up on my TV, I took a picture for my girlfriend to send it to her.
How many times was it? Because I didn't.
4, 5, 6.
Okay. I do remember seeing the first one and being, I got the initial eye roll of I thought I was watching college football. I could get away from this, but I thought they did a decent job of not overly doing it.
To me, I don't care. So it didn't bother me at all. But yeah, it was 4, 5, 6, and you saw people on the show. What are they doing? I'm like, dude, they're the most famous fans in the stands.
I didn't even realize the game was at Arrowhead until they showed them, and then I, connected the dots. It was like, oh, what? This must be some new kickoff game this year.
They always cut 2 fans in the stands. You may as well show the most famous fans in the stands. Sure. So it's doesn't matter. I did enjoy the Nebraska shirt guy. He said, we almost won the game. And it looked, oh my gosh, it was another moment where they nearly blew it. Interception in the end zone to save the game, winning 20-17, I think it was the final. But really, I watched the game for our old friend Elijah Pritchett. And it was not good. It was not good at all. Playing left tackle for Nebraska and not starting, but rotating in and out on different drives.
It always works well, as we've seen.
And Katie, by the time the fourth quarter ended, no more rotating out. He in and out. He was on the bench. They said, we got to win this game. We actually have to complete a drive. They got down to the goal line, Katie, and Elijah Pritchett false start, and then Elijah Pritchett let a guy go around him for a tackle for loss, 1 yard tackle for loss, and then it was like, now it's 3rd and 10 on the goal line. It was just, this is not a personal issue at all, but I enjoy watching good football or better football and well-executed football, and his motor is non-existent, and so good luck, Matt Rule. But they ended up winning, and good on them. The Big Ten looked horrible last night. Katie, did you look around and see the Big Ten scores, particularly the Wisconsin score, as Alabama's playing Wisconsin here pretty soon?
I actually don't think I saw what that final was. I'm going to be honest. Last night I already told you that we were hosting community group. Tony wasn't here because he was at UAB, so I was here alone trying to cook and get everything ready, and then when people left, I was so tired. I took a nap before I had to write my feature. And I saw the end of the Nebraska-Cincinnati game. I saw that when Cincinnati was driving, and I was like, here we go, another disaster season for Nebraska. But then they actually got the play they needed. But I saw people tweeting about the Big Ten, but I did not see, let's see what ended up happening.
The hostess of the hostess, Wisconsin won 17-0. Wisconsin won 17-0, but they lost their quarterback. Who knows how long that's going to go? Billy Edwards Jr. transferred in from Maryland, took a non-contact injury, and from my non-medical eyes, looked like it might have been an Achilles. I sure hope not. But it was not a good night for the Big Ten. Rutgers winning 34-31 over Ohio. Minnesota winning 23-10 over Buffalo. We just talked about Nebraska holding on 20-17 over Cincinnati, and Wisconsin winning 17-0 over Miami of Ohio. So not a great night. Not a great night for the Big Ten. I think I just got another voicemail. I don't know if you guys heard the ringing in my ear. So I'll just move us right into, that's how we're going to do this. We're going to go keys to the game. We'll take that voicemail, then we'll do players to watch, and then we'll make our picks. That'll be a great way to kind of keep this train moving. Well, we want to do, Katie's going to go down to Tallahassee. She's taking Hunter DeCiver down to Tallahassee to cover this game. Alabama 2:30 on ABC against the Florida State Seminoles. And seems like some lightning, some weather, some rain in the air. I know, Katie, you don't want to hear that. That was your last experience in USF, a rain delay. We'll ask you to set up your keys to the game just by talking about what a rain delay, what a lightning delay might do or mean for the team, and then you can roll right into my keys of the game are XYZ.
Yeah, I mean, I think weather delays are obviously never ideal. And it's kind of crazy. I talked about this last year, I think, because it wasn't the home opener last year. It was like pouring before the game. Remember that? Like we were picking up our credentials, but then like it didn't affect the game time or anything. And as much rain as we have in Tuscaloosa, really my whole life, a home game has never been like delayed by weather, had to go, like they've never had to go in the locker room. It's kind of crazy, but sometimes in these road games it does. So like it's not ideal, but you best believe that training staff and support staff will have 1 million Uncrustables, gummies, like whatever those players need. I'm sure they will be fine. Now, I do wonder, when you get yourself psyched up to play a game and then you have a break, like I wonder, all their phones will still be in the locker room. So I wonder the pros and cons of like going and scrolling on your phone while you're waiting to go play a game. So I don't know.
All the boys playing block blast, getting ready for the game.
Yeah, hopefully things aren't as hopefully we don't have super long delays or multiple delays on Saturday, but you never know with Florida weather at this time of year. But so with that kind of keys to the game, I'll start with kind of some shameless self-promotion on the story I did this morning on Parker Brailsford. I think that they talked about his calmness, and I think that has to extend to the whole offense. And starting first road game, and I feel like every year the first road game we kind of maybe overplay the crowd noise and blah blah blah. But I think for this it's a legitimate thing because this is the first game of the year. This team has not played together yet. This offensive line has not played together yet and had a chance to mesh. You lose your top running back, a guy who's going to pick up pass protection and run the ball. So it's like those type things that when you're doing this not on the fly because obviously they practice it, but for the first time together in a real game and it's on the road, so the players have to remain calm. And it kind of starts up front with Parker Brailsford, and then I think that something that they've talked about all offseason, and the big reason Ty won the job was his ability to protect the ball. So when you're dealing with these type of conditions, you can't just give the ball away and create easy scoring opportunities for the opponent. So they have to hold on to the ball, and then the defense has to be ready to pounce on turnovers, force turnovers, create some opportunities for the offense. And then now I can't remember our friend's name that left the voicemail, but he talked about he thinks there's going to be 2 field goals.
Dax.
I think that would be a really good sign for Alabama if they make 2 field goals week 1 on the road in not ideal weather conditions. So I think a key for me would be maybe that they don't have to attempt a long field goal so that the offense either finds the end zone or gets it close enough in the red zone that it's going to be manageable field goals. Because I think especially on the road, a missed field goal can be such a big momentum swing that like it it can really get a crowd into it one way or the other when the opponent misses a field goal. So those are just some of my early thoughts on the game.
Mason Woods, keys to the game for the Crimson Tide tomorrow as they face Florida State.
I mean, my own personal things that I'd like to see are probably different from what they actually need to do to win.
That's fine. This is Mason's keys.
Yeah, I want to see a near 300-yard passing yard performance from 300-yard passing performance from Ty Simpson.
You're a sick man.
I want to see it. I want to see it with my own 2 eyes. Give me that 270 plus, and I'll be happy. I'll be satisfied. Maybe with 2 touchdowns. That sounds good, Dax. I want to see Wilkin Formby. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see if we have been correct to kind of been hyping him up as much as we have, expecting him to take that leap from the last time that we saw him get some significant time. And then I think obviously we really just looking to see what the defense looks like without Tim Keenan. Without Tim Keenan out there, you lose not only a big time veteran leader, you lose somebody with a ton of experience on the defense, somebody that really knows what they're doing in every situation, and you're replacing him with some guys who we all feel very highly about, but just are a little unsure because of the experience level. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That'd probably be the main things. I want to see if any young guys get involved. We've heard a lot about Dijon Lee. I'd like to see what his role is going to look like on this defense, whether or not he gets in early or whether or not it's we'll throw you out there late once we secure the win kind of deal. But yeah, I'm excited. I still feel good sitting here Friday that Alabama can cover. I think Dax's score prediction may be a little bit rich for my blood, but I'm pretty close to where he's at.
All right. I like that. So my keys to the game, I'll go board. I'm sorry, Mason. I'm opposite. Got to stay in manageable downs and distance. Yep, you got to stay on schedule.
You can do that by still throwing the ball. Like these are they're not mutually exclusive from one another.
But if I go incomplete pass on 1st and 10 because I've thrown a bomb and it's 2nd and 10, and then you end up with a 2nd and 10 1-yard run and it's 3rd and 9, that's
you said
not.
You had to throw a bomb on 1st and 10.
Oh, okay, all right.
Set yourself up.
Yeah, so you gotta set yourself up by winning on first down.
I just want to see Ty complete those bombs.
You got to win on first down. I guess that's a morphing. We can morph and come together. You got to win on first down and get into 2nd and 6 plus,
Fine.
2nd and 5, 2nd and 4, 3, plus. Winning on first down, staying on schedule is going to be so important for this offense. And I think Katie's really nailed it by staying calm. Parker helping the team stay calm, but you got to keep Ty calm. And I think he will be. We saw him, we've already referenced the USF game from 2023, go in and save Alabama's bacon in 2023.
When that rain delay hits, he'll just be in there stacking Legos. He'll be good to go.
That's right. We'll send him with a nice little, Lego architecture piece. We'll pick him out a bridge or something to build.
Nice and zen.
Exactly. I'm game with that. But keeping Ty calm and staying on schedule, I think, is the biggest key for Alabama, really offensively, and then defensively managing the tempo and having good eyes. I'm really interested to see Deontay Lawson, how good he actually looks, because every time it's been brought up in fall camp, it's how's Deontay Lawson doing? How's he looking? Oh, back to normal, looking good. Is he? Or is that just them saying it because they have confidence in their teammate and, they're not looking for maybe the cracks in the foundation, and hopefully there are none. Hopefully he's fully healthy and playing like the old Deontay Lawson, and play better than the old Deontay Lawson, because there were times last year that Deontay's guessing gaps, jumping gaps. He's a very physical athlete when he's in the right spot and when he's making tackles, but he's got to be in the right spot, and you can't guess against Gus Malzahn's offense. You can't jump in gaps, and I think Tim Keenan's really departure or sidelining due to injury is huge for Alabama. How do you mitigate the loss of Tim Keenan? Is Jeremiah Beaman going to be ready to play more of a full-time role? Is London Simmons going to give you anything as a true freshman? Edric Hill, is he ready? I mean, Edric Hill's been baking in the Freddie Roach position room for 2 years now. Is he ready to come out of the oven and be a real big contributor? So I think for me, it's managing the tempo on defense. Can you get the calls in, get lined up, and stay in the right gaps against that really painfully annoying run game? And then will the offense stay on schedule ahead of the chains down in distances? Those are really my two keys for Alabama. If they can do those two things, then I do think that you will cover. I still am in the camp that it's going to be an uglier game than the Alabama fan wants. I love your prediction, Dax. I think it's great. But I also think it's a bit rich. I think that's going to be it's going to be a little bit closer than that. I think that Alabama won't score as much as maybe he predicted, and I think Florida State's going to stay right around there. My old high school coach used to call it the 5-mile dog, the nipping on your heels, yippee yippee dog, nipping on your heels, and as your legs are bleeding out, then you trip at the end of the finish line. He said, we just got to be that nippy dog, just trail them, just make them feel your presence. Alabama, you got to kick that dog way away from you and get to the finish line as soon as you can by staying on schedule, staying ahead of the chains, and mitigating the tempo defensively. Look, if you end up 1-yard run, Gus Malzahn on 1st and 10 because everybody stayed in their gaps, and they go fast on 2nd and 9, and you get incomplete pass, and now it's 3rd and 9, yeah, you're feeling really good, and I think you can start to stack up a snowball against Florida State, and that will work in your favor. And maybe you will see Dax's score. All right, let's take a small break. I have a voicemail loaded from another caller. We'll take a small break. We'll take that voicemail, and then we'll go into 3 players to watch. Each of us will give our 3 players to watch for the game, and then we will make our picks on, I think it had 5 games plus the Alabama game. Obviously, huge game with Texas and Ohio State. Texas rolls. Did you see, Mason? Brand new starting quarterbacks against number 1 teams. Sorry, Julian, saying I love you, buddy. 0-16. Hook 'em, baby. They're going to go in there and send the Ohio State fans home sad.
I don't think that is going to happen, but maybe.
Well, all right, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Absolutely. We'll talk about that in just a minute, right after this break, and then we'll hit a voicemail, hit our three players to watch, and make our picks on a Football Friday. Crimson Clash, the hottest local wrestling show in town, slams into Two Dimes on Thursday, September 11th. Witness the chaos as social media sensation Big Trouble Ben Bishop brings his larger-than-life swagger to the ring. The man is 6'12", he weighs 15% of a metric ton, and is bringing every bit to Tuscaloosa. Feel the heat when our new champion Sleazy C. Caden Newton defends the open title, and don't miss the brutal street fight between the modern-day Kings and the unstoppable force known as the Draw. It's the same weekend as Alabama hosting Wisconsin, so keep the Tuscaloosa energy high with the Crimson Clash. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the bell rings at 8 p.m. at Two Dimes on the Strip. Grab your tickets now on Eventbrite by searching New Era Wrestling and use promo code RADIO for 20% off. New Era Wrestling, where legends are made and the battles are epic. And we want to remind you we're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios right here off of McFarland Boulevard. You can call Derek for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Saved my man Theo a bunch of money on his car insurance. He switched about a week and change ago, and he is enjoying all that extra bread over there on campus by eating out and enjoying all that. You can enjoy some extra money in your wallet. I know times are not so fun, so call Derek Daniel at 205-758-3391, and he can help your budget by saving you some money, getting you some better coverage, getting you some local coverage. I told you about my incident at the end of July. I had a little tree fall on the house, and Derek got me really squared away very quickly. The power back on, the repairs were done. Derek hooked me up with people to call, and it really took care of me on the homeowners insurance front. So I cannot recommend him enough, not only for hosting the program, but for being a great insurance agent. Call him 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much he can save you today. All right, guys, we had a voicemail right in the middle of the show, so we may as well see what they have to say. I don't know the caller, but we want to honor everybody who uses the voicemail line. Call the voicemail line. You can leave your predictions at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Let's find out what caller has to say.
Woo! Good morning, Joe, Mason, and Katie. This is Hick Flair coming to you straight from Northport, Alabama. You know what? I've been on a personal voicemail ban for quite some time because I got on the phone, left a voicemail for Joe, begging him to play his Nate Oates hit math teacher before the Alabama-Auburn basketball 1-versus-2 matchup last year. And you know what he did? He chickened out. He didn't play it on the air for everybody. So I've been on a voicemail ban. But you know what? I woke up this morning, and there was something in the air. Something in the air that just said, it's time to let bygones be bygones and to call in and give you my predictions for the weekend. So here we go. I'm just going to hit the big games for you real quick. All right, so you can make a few bucks off this. Okay, first off, Texas, Ohio State. This one's really easy. You better go UT all way. All day, UT is going to do it. The Arch High Train is going to go insane after this one. There's just too much going on, too much change at Ohio State. They're not going to get it done. The Texas D is going to be too good. Put your money on Texas this weekend. Next game, got LSU and Clemson. We all know what LSU does on the opening weekend. They lose, guys. They lose every time. So I'm taking Clemson all the way on this one. So there you go. Clemson over LSU. And finally, that brings us to the big one. The big one. Florida State, Bama, tomorrow afternoon in Tallahassee, coming to you. And here's what's going to happen. All right? Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow afternoon. There's just too much going on for this game to predict what it's going to look like. There's different coordinators. There's like 87 million transfers coming in for Florida State. It's going to be very, very difficult to know exactly what this game's going to look like. It may even rain. Who knows? We got like half the defensive lines banged up for Bama. We don't even know who the starting tailback's going to be. Lots of change going on, new quarterback. But here's what we do know. This is Bama, baby. Woo! And Bama's going to pull it out 36-24, Florida State, with a late fourth quarter beat on a touchdown. But Bama's going to pull it out this weekend in Tallahassee. Hope you guys have a great weekend. This is Hick Flair. Woo!
I love it. Hick Flair joining us. Hick Flair joining us on the voicemail line and giving us a prediction. 36-24 Alabama, Florida State with a late cover. Unbelievable. I appreciate the phone call. And yes, the song this year, it must be released. It's itching deep inside me. So it must be released probably the week of basketball season. So I know it would have been a great time to release it right before that Alabama-Auburn game, but all things happen when they're supposed to happen. So right before basketball season, we'll release. Oh, here he comes! He's a math teacher.
That's a brutal beat for Alabama FSU right there.
They're gonna be mad. The Alabama fans would be mad.
Man, that is a bad beat.
They could be mad because look. These Alabama fans like to put a dollar down here too.
There's some of them that do.
And they'll say, Kalen DeVore, you son of a gun. No, it'll be Kane Womack if it's a late touchdown. Kane Womack, you couldn't keep him out of the end zone. I lost my $100.
Oh man. Yeah, that'd be a bad one. I don't think it's out of the question whatsoever. I think that's a very, very reasonable score prediction for this game.
Yeah, 36. 30. I do think Alabama's got. The offense has weapons on weapons on weapons, and so Ty, if you just stay on schedule, you'll find yourself in the red zone and find yourself ready to score. I think he's right. I think he's got a lot of great points. The newness makes this such a challenge. To predict. And so I think that's why it becomes like I wish you watched all week long.
Mm-hmm.
I was Monday on Florida State plus 13, Tuesday, Wednesday on Bama minus 13, Thursday after the Tim Keenan injury, back to Florida State plus the 13.5. We'll find out what we pick here in just a minute. Katie Windham, you're reconnecting your internet. You look great. I know you're at a brand new house, so sometimes internet stuff goes a little funny. You feeling good? You ready to roll? 3 players to watch this weekend?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know what happened really, because normally when the Wi-Fi goes out, the Wi-Fi doesn't go out, but it just won't connect to certain devices. I don't really know how to explain it, but then it normally takes a while to reconnect, but it reconnected right away. So I don't know what happened, but hopefully it stays this way. So yeah, I'm ready to roll with the 3 players. Are we going one at a time or all 3?
Why don't you hit all 3 so that Mason said, oh, I've got a list of 9. I don't want to use anybody else's. I haven't made my list yet. I haven't made an official list. They're all in my head. And I'll pick 3 players based off the 6 players that you two do not choose. So Katie Windham, who do you think are some players to watch for the Crimson Tide this weekend?
I think one starting on offense is Richard Young with Jay Miller out. Can he run the ball effectively? Can he help protect Ty? Can he do what he needs to do? Can he help Alabama establish a run game? Just because it seemed like the coaches were so high on Jay Miller throughout camp. And then ever since his injury, when we're what guys have been stepping up? It seems like they're not as high on any of them. So can Richard Young, prove that he is an Alabama SEC caliber running back and can handle a load on offense, at least while Jay Miller's out? And then on the defensive side of the ball, I'll go with James Smith. He's been dinged up a little bit throughout camp. So especially with Tim Keenan out, I think he's a guy that everyone's thinking is going to have a big year, has the potential to have a big year. And so can he up front be disruptive, especially in a game that can potentially be, weather affected, and can he really affect the quarterback? Can he help pick up some of the slack of Tim Keenan, even though they're not exactly the same build? So that would be on the defensive side of the ball. And then, I think the most obvious is Ty Simpson in his first start. How is he going to handle the environment, the pressure of the start, any adversity that comes his way? Because I think that was one of the biggest issues we saw with Jalen Milroe throughout his career, really, is sometimes when adversity came, he did not respond well. It was like one mistake happened and then like an avalanche of mistakes happened because it was just, it was off the cliff. And so, how will Ty respond to inevitable mistakes? And we've all been talking about him all offseason. We've been talking about the quarterback competition. We've seen very little of Ty in games. Kalen DeBoer answered my question this week when I asked about it being his first start, and he was like, well, he's pretty experienced. I'm like, not really. Like, he's had very limited game action. And so this is going to be his first start. And so, just kind of how does he handle all of that being the Alabama quarterback? And I think it'll give us the tough thing for me for this game is if it's really bad weather affected, then I don't think we're going to get a true picture of what Alabama is on offense or defense. But if it's relatively normal, I think this is going to give us a good starting point, at least to see what Ty Simpson in this offense can be this season.
There we go. So you took Richard Young, Ty Simpson, and I'm sorry, you had a small internet glitch. Why don't you summarize yourself? Your 3 players to watch were Bam, Bam, and Bam.
Richard Young, Ty Simpson, and James Smith.
There we go. Perfect. Well, that's Katie Windham's 3 players to watch. Mason Woods, M.A. Woods _ on the Twitter machine. Your 3 players to watch are
top 3 picks still on the board for me. First off, I'm gonna go with Isaiah Horton. I want to see what he brings to the offense. I am very just intrigued by him as a player. I think he's a big time receiver, and I just want to see what kind of element he brings. I think his body type is different from really anybody else that they have, and I just want to see what kind of dynamic element he brings to the offense. Really, that's it. Next, and another guy really kind of looking for the same thing out of him, Danny Lewis. I just want to see what we get out of the tight ends. We've been waiting, kind of talking me and you about what is going to be the tight end that gives you that receiving option, that gives you that, we need to stretch the field a little bit with another guy. So I just want to see if one of those guys steps up. And I think Danny Lewis has the opportunity to be that guy. And then on the defensive side, I already mentioned that I'm watching Jeremiah Beeman. Katie mentioned James Smith. Obviously, those are the 2 probably biggest ones that we're looking for. But I want to see where Nakai Hill-Green fits into the defense. You mentioned Deontay Lawson earlier. I think he is healthy. I think he is fine, good to go. But I just want to see where Nakai Hill-Green works in here. I think they brought him in for a reason. He's a very experienced player. I think he probably has a good grasp of what's going on when he's out there. I just want to see where he fits into the rotation.
I love it. Nakai Hill-Green, Jeremiah Beeman, and Nakai Hill-Green.
Listen, Isaiah Horton.
Perfect. No, my memory. I can only hold 2. I can only hold two things in my memory at once. That third thing slips through.
I tried to get some, a little off the wall guys out here.
Okay, so
I'm so glad I didn't take any of your top picks.
There you go. Exactly. Look, there's so many players, right? Especially brand new season.
Yeah.
I think my 3 players to watch are Quay Russaw and Bray Hubbard for the same reasons, but opposite. Quay Russaw, Bray Hubbard, and Wilkin or Formby. Yeah,
love that.
That's my 3 players to watch this weekend, and why? Quay Russaw is going to basically be your read key the entire game in some of these read options and some of these speed options. Can Quay Russaw set an edge? Can he be decisive going after it? Either he's probably going to be on quarterback responsibility, not on pitchman responsibility. So can he be decisive in his role? Don't be frozen out there going, which guy do I take? I think Quay Russaw, we've heard it, freakiest guy on the defense, the freakiest athlete on the team. I want to see Quay Russaw take a big step this season. And so I think Quay Russaw is a huge key to this game because you're going to have to set the edge like a big fella, like a real man out there playing wolf. But you're also, in passing situations, going to have to get after the passer. Can he effectively get after the passer? We've talked all offseason about Alabama's defense getting the almost sacks, getting the LT Overton fingertips away, and Kamastas Thomas Castellanos? Does he slip out of the fingertips and go for 8, go for 12, go for 4-yard positive, turn a 4-yard negative into a 4-yard positive? You're going to have to get him on the ground ASAP. So I think Quay Russaw on one edge, but I think Bray Hubbard coming on the opposite side, filling the alley in run support is going to be huge on the opposite side. So you really need to keep Florida State in basically inside the box, inside the tackles, and Quay Russaw and Bray Hubbard will be doing that. Now, Bray, you're also going to be out there in pass coverage, and Quay will just a hair, but Bray in pass coverage, I think you're going to have a lot of opportunities to, is Castellanos pressing a little bit? Is he tricked and Bray can jump a route? I think I could easily see that because I don't see Castellanos field. I see him hitting quick outs. I see him field. I see him trying to dump it to a tight end right over the middle and on the edges of the offense. Will Bray Hubbard be able to jump any of these routes? But you're also going to be huge in run support. When the ball gets flipped out, when it becomes a speed sweep, will Bray Hubbard be able to make tackles in the open field? We've seen him do it before. I have confidence that he will be able to do it. I think those two guys are going to be really, really heavily responsible for shutting down this Florida State offense. And then on the offensive line, I think due to Ty Simpson's first start and due to the running, some question marks, you got to go with an offensive lineman here. Will you protect Ty Simpson? If you protect Ty Simpson, I think he's going to operate fairly well, keeping you on schedule, checking it down to the right guys, moving through his progression, maybe hitting a big play to your boy Isaiah Horton. But Wilkin, there were so many questions about you last year. And as the hometown kid, Northridge High School's own, everybody wants Wilkin to perform well. And you've heard great things about him in the spring and great things about him in the summer and in the fall. And he looks like a man's man now. He doesn't look like a big kid. I think that this is really Wilkin Formby's big moment to shut down. They brought in a pass rusher from Nebraska. They've got a 3-3-5 defense, very similar to Alabama's, just a hair different. So he's going to be used to going against a lot of the same scheme. Will you be able to drive the football and run off of left and right tackle? Not just Caden Proctor, top NFL draft pick. You're going to have to balance the offense and play well at right tackle. Alabama, the last how many years? I mean, JC was great. But after JC, in between, before JC, you had Chris Owens. You had all kinds of questions at right tackle for years. And last year, you did the right tackle carousel with Elijah Pritchett. We've already talked about Elijah Pritchett. Wilkin Formby, will you shore up the right tackle position? So my 3 players to watch this week are Quay Russaw, Bray Hubbard, and Wilkin Formby.
I like all those.
Wilkin Formby pancake is going to be glorious.
Yeah, I'm clipping that for a GIF, and we're just Taco Casa has a lot of what you like. Beefy burrito, whatever you like. Oh, goodness gracious. I think that it's going to go well for Alabama, but you're going to have to play well in key spots. So let's predict some games, and let's get on out of here. We're at 47, so we're right on time, really. Let's predict some games. We've got how many games to go through? Auburn, Baylor, Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Notre Dame, Miami, and, of course, we will end with Alabama at Florida State. And before we get going, Theo Fernandez, where are you? Did you sleep in? Theo was supposed to be here this morning, but I guess he slept in, but it's all right. We're hanging out with Katie Windham. Follow her at Katie Windham _. She's going to be going down to Tallahassee. We're hanging out with Mason Woods. Follow him at MA Woods _. He's going to be giving you great reactions and reports from Alabama's high school commits all over the BamaCentral.com. I know Sadarian Morgan had a huge win last night with Benjamin Russell, 40-7 or something like that. Wrecking shop. So you'll be able to keep up with Mason Woods and all the high school commits on BamaCentral.com fairly soon. Let's get right into it, Katie. You said you're going to take Hunter DeCyber to your house to watch Auburn at Baylor tonight. I know that all the Windhams will be pulling for Hugh Freeze, right?
Well, my grandfather did go to Baylor, so
went to Baylor.
Yeah, my mom's dad. Yeah,
all
Baylor.
Right, so. There we go. We'll go Baylor.
Not that he ever cheered for Baylor or cared about college football, but that does give me that connection.
The line is Auburn minus 2.5. Well, how do you see this game going?
I said I kind of talked about this in my Just a Minute yesterday. I really have – sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. No clue what to expect from this Auburn team because, I feel like we have heard things are going horribly in fall camp, and I feel like we've heard Jackson Arnold is the answer. So it's like I don't keep up enough really with what other teams are doing in the offseason to know, which one it's going to be for Auburn. And I feel like you hear such conflicting things about Hugh Freeze. I mean, he does. It's just like a fact. He plays golf way more than any other SEC coach does. Like they're recruiting, their game planning, their whatever, like team development. He's out there at Morse Mill, which power to him. Like love that work-life balance for you. But I think just to cover all my bases, yesterday on Just a Minute, I said Auburn was the most likely team to lose to an unranked foe. But here, I'll pick them to win. That way, I'm right either way.
I like that. Corner of the market.
Yeah, exactly. That way, I'm on record both ways. People can't old takes expose me because, I've said they're the most likely to lose, but I'll pick them to win here. So I'll listen to the positive Auburn noise for now.
What do Baylor fans do? They do their bear call thing. Yeah. I'm riding with the Baylor Bears. I think this is going to be a gross football game to watch. I think it's not going to be overly entertaining one way or the other, but it will be entertaining for any Alabama fans that want to see Auburn lose a football game. I will be give me Baylor like 17-13.
Yeah, I'm in Katie's camp to where you're not really sure what to expect, but when Hugh Freeze says all three quarterbacks might play, I can't decide if that's Hugh Freeze just messing with the Baylor coaching staff or maybe trying to reset expectations. Is Jackson Arnold, is he going to get dude wiped across the field? Like, I'm not really sure what it's going to be. I think I got to take Auburn barely. I think Auburn will eke out a 20-17 win, but they're going to come home, and there's going to be a lot of questions next week about the Auburn Tigers. Who's really the quarterback? What are we doing? Did Cam Coleman make a mistake not going to the transfer portal? Blah 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 blah. So I do think that they're going to have a decent running game. It'll be interesting. I'll take Auburn in a very close one, 2017. Very very similar to that ugly win that Nebraska had last night. We'll keep moving. The next game on our list moves us into Saturday. Texas at Ohio State, right there, 11 a.m., big noon kickoff. Ohio State, Katie, is a 1.5-point favorite. Our old friend Julian Sayin and Caleb Downs, will they be able to get Ohio State off to a good start?
Which, I mean, when a team's a 1.5-point favorite at home, isn't that basically just like a draw? Like, I feel like with these two teams, it's kind of a similar, every team week one, you don't know exactly what to expect. Ohio State's the defending national champion, but they have a new quarterback. Texas also has a new quarterback. He's also one of the most hyped players in college football. So, which I was listening to a podcast last night talking about that and how he's, he understands why people are annoyed with him. He's also annoyed with all the praise he's getting before he's really played significant minutes. So I think I'm going to pick Ohio State just because it's in Columbus. I think if it was in Austin, I would pick Texas. But the thing is, ultimately, with the 12-team playoff now, and even with the 4, it wouldn't have necessarily, but it really doesn't matter. It's not going to eliminate either team from playoff contention. It'll help one team and give them that huge resume point that'll carry throughout the season. But, I'm glad we're still having matchups like this in there of the 12-team playoff. But I'll go with the Buckeyes just because it's in Ohio.
It's a ball knower right there. That's someone that knows ball. Steve Sarkisian, 3-7 in top 10 matchups since he's been hired as the Texas head football coach. Gives me zero confidence to believe that Texas is going to do anything. Give me Ohio State. OHIO. Give me the Buckeyes. It's so foolish to think that Texas is going in to win this game. It's so foolish to jump on this Arch Manning hype train. It's just so insane at this point. Yeah, give me Ohio State. I think they win this game by at least 10 points.
Call me a fool, Mason Woods.
You are a fool.
Texas is going to go in there and take them apart piece by piece. It's going to be
Anthony
so
rewarding
Hill.
when Arch Manning throws 3 interceptions.
He's not. He won't do it. He's going to dunk. He's going to dunk on Caleb Downs. It's going to be a Ryan Wingo show all over Caleb Downs.
Arch Manning 4 turnovers in that game.
No. I can't see it. I can't see it until I actually have to see it. So I'm going Texas because of the inexperience of Julian saying,
You're going with Texas because you love Texas.
hook 'em, baby. Let's go.
That's the only reason you're picking Texas. There's no analysis going into
Gabriel
this. Because if there was, you'd be picking
horn.
Ohio State.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so that's going to be a fun one for us to dissect next week after one of us is right and one of us is wrong. But I am taking Texas. I'm taking Texas, something in the range of 28-20 is kind of what I'm feeling right there. And Malik Muhammad is going to shut down Jeremiah Smith. You remember Alabama wanted Malik Muhammad out of the transfer portal. He's going to be on Jeremiah Smith duty, and they're going to take care of business right there. We're going next to LSU at Clemson, the Battle of the Death Valleys. Will Cade Klubnik ruin Brian Kelly's season before it even starts? Katie Windham.
I can't remember if it was Mason or the voicemail earlier talking about how LSU's been so bad in the openers. I feel like that trend has got to end eventually. Like, it cannot keep, like, they know it by now. So, and then I'm not really understanding where all this Clemson hype is coming from, like, after how last season went for them. So I'm going to pick LSU. I'll probably end up regretting it because they just can't seem to get it together in openers. But, yeah, I'm going with the LSU Tigers.
Clemson 4.5-point favorite, so she's taking LSU to win, which means they cover easily, outright. Mason, which side of the Tigers are you riding with?
I'm riding with Clemson. I am riding with Clemson. I don't trust Brian Kelly in week 1. I don't trust LSU in week 1. I don't really trust this LSU team throughout the whole season, if I'm being honest. I don't think they're as good as people are telling us they are. I do think Clemson is a very good football team. I think they are they return more talent, more production than almost anybody in the country. I think Cade Klubnik is a very good quarterback. And look, I know we all make fun of Dabo, but damn it, the man has won a national championship.
Our NIL is G-O-D. Praise the Lord.
There's not a lot of coaches that can say that in college football right now. So I'm going to ride with Clemson in this one. I think Clemson has a good season, and I think LSU might be looking for an expensive buyout by the end of the year because they are disappointed in their performance of Brian Kelly.
Alex Golish going to be on the market, going to be a hot name. Yeah, I think I'm going with you with that. I think Clemson's going to win. The 4.5 is a little tough. Oh, it's a little tough. I think I'm going to go Clemson wins, but LSU covers. I think it's going to be a 3-point win. It's going to end up 24-21. Clemson wins at home is kind of my pick. Oh, we'll keep going. We are now into Sunday's games. We got 2 games on Sunday that we care about. Virginia Tech is against South Carolina. South Carolina is a 7.5-point favorite. The 2 teams are meeting in Atlanta. Katie Windham, will Shane Beamer be able to beat his daddy's squad?
I think so. I didn't really realize until I was looking at the SEC schedule for this week that we had the Little Beamer Bowl action. Not that obviously his dad's there anymore, but the most storied coach in program history, I'd say. Not that I know a ton about their program history, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. But I think Shane does get the victory. I think South Carolina is riding high off a year ago, kind of some of the success they were able to have. And I think it would be a not great sign for their season if they weren't able to win this first game. And after that, you play on Sunday instead of Saturday, so you have that whole extra day to wait. I think they're going to be amped up. I'm sure there will be more Gamecock fans in Atlanta than Hokies. So I think South Carolina wins and covers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I really know anything about this year's Virginia Tech football. I don't know much about the Hokies, but I do know a fair amount about South Carolina, and I think they're a pretty good football team. So I'm gonna ride with the Gamecocks in this one. I think, like Katie said, if they can't win this game, it says bad things about the rest of the season. But I think they get the week 1 win.
We'll make it a clean sweep. I will also take South Carolina to win and cover. I'm thinking 24-10 is kind of how I'm feeling in this range. 24-13 is kind of how I'm feeling right there. I think South Carolina gets it done. I think Shane Beamer is probably really, really going all in to make sure that he beats
This feels like hey, let's make sure Lenore Sellers throws for 5 touchdowns today if we have the opportunity. Let's run that thing up.
Yeah.
We'll see right there. So that'll be Sunday right after church. I think at 2:00 is when that'll be. And then Sunday night, the nightcap. Oh, Give me Catholics First Convicts every year.
Oh, yeah.
Notre Dame at Miami. Notre Dame is a 2.5-point favorite down in Coral Gables. Notre Dame in the national championship game last season. Miami bringing in Carson Beck. Did you see offensive coordinator said, I think we might go back-to-back number one picks after Cam Ward got a number one pick last year. Carson Beck, will he be able to pull off the upset? Miami, a 2.5-point underdog at home, Katie Windham.
I did not see that comment. That's pretty crazy. Did either of you name, I can't, who Notre Dame's quarterback is now that Riley Leonard's gone?
Is it CJ Carr?
Yeah, CJ Carr.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't know a ton about Notre Dame or Miami, and honestly, I've forgotten the whole Carson Beck saga with the what's their name, the Cavender twins, and that all the drama about him going there and then them breaking up or whatever. So this is just a feels pick because I don't really know. I'll go with Notre Dame. I don't trust Miami big games.
I'm right there with you. I don't really trust this Miami team. I think it's a from a lot of what I recall from our time having Miami in our coverage zone here from the Walsh Writing Network. That football team lost a lot from last year. Lost almost all of its production. I mean, obviously you lose Isaiah Horton, you lose your quarterback, you lose Elijah Arroyo, you lose Restrepo. I mean, you lost every bit of production from that offense that you had last year. I don't really know what they returned on defense. I think it's going to be a struggling football team. Give me Notre Dame. I love Jeremiah Love. I think he might be my Heisman pick this year.
What former Alabama player is starting on Miami's offense? I'm pulling up Miami Ourlads right now, and this is going to shock you both. Katie, when do you have a single guess? He's an older player, redshirt senior. This fella's been around. Do you know what former Alabama player is starting? We'll give you a hint. Offensive lineman.
Oh, one of the Brockermeyers, is he down there?
That's right. James Brockermeyer. Bingo. That's why Katie Wyndham's the lead writer. James Brockermeyer is reportedly the starting center for the Miami Hurricanes. Yikes. I think Miami's going to have a small explosion in this game, but Notre Dame, slow and steady, wins the race. Workman-like comes back and ends up winning. What is it, 2.5? Yeah, I think they will win and cover. So I'll take the Fighting Irish to win that matchup and break Miami's hearts late. All right, so let's get into the last one, the big one, the one that we're all caring about. Alabama is at Florida State, 2:30 on ABC. Our friend Joe Tessitore of Friday Night SmackDown will be on the call with Jesse Palmer and Katie George on the sidelines. You can find us at BamaCentral.com. Katie Windham and company will be running live update. We'll be running all kinds of coverage. We'll say that. Lots of coverage from right down there in Tallahassee. She's going down there later today. We've talked about keys to the game. We've talked about players to watch. Katie Windham, how does this game end up?
I feel like now's after you set the game up is the point where we insert the hype video before we make our picks, like on College Game Day. I really do. For me, it's hard to pick or to know how this game's. I mean, obviously, I can't predict the future anyway, but to know how this game is going to go with the weather, because I feel like weather can slightly affect the game, but if it's like torrential downpour, then it just creates like a yucky game. So I'm just going to hope that that's not the case. Look, I've heard a lot of good things about this Alabama team, which we've been in talking season for too long. Now, thank God it's finally game week, but during talking season, most things are positive. If those are true and Florida State's coming off a 2-10 season, Alabama should cover and win this game on the road. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think Ty Simpson proves why he earned the trust of the coaching staff. I think the defense gets a couple timely turnovers, and I think Alabama wins and covers.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. Obviously, rain could and will greatly affect the game if it is a torrential downpour, like you said, but I am going to similarly operate from a position of just assuming that won't happen. I'm gonna take Alabama to win. I'm gonna take Alabama to cover. Give me the Tide. I think 31-14. Late touchdown to get that cover.
Do I have to pick the spread? Because I think Alabama's going to win. I'm comfortable with that. I'm pretty comfortable with Alabama winning. I'm still on Friday at midday. Not comfortable with either part of this spread here. I am not comfortable at all. Goodness gracious. I think Hick Flair was right. I think Alabama is going to end up at in the 30s. What's 31? It was 17. 31 and 17 ends up at what?
14.
Yeah, 14. So you're going to be feeling good at Alabama 31-14, but I think Florida State scores late to make it a 10-point spread, and they're going to feel good about themselves in Alabama. So it's going to be Florida State plus the 13.5 for me. It'll be Alabama winning. It'll be 31-21. Will be my official pick. That's how I feel it's going to go. Now, am I prepared to be wrong and Alabama to cover? Yes, I am. I think that the Alabama, some things to go. If the defense is on point and makes it really, really tough on Castellanos, maybe scores a non-offensive touchdown, which I think could be in the cards, then my pick's going to bust right there, and Alabama will probably cover. But, yeah, that's where I'm going to land right there. Alabama wins 31-21. Katie Windham, any last word before you get out of here and go to Tallahassee? Thank you so much for joining us. Follow Katie Windham at Katie Windham _. She's going to be on site for us at BamaCentral.com and right there on her Twitter machine, Katie Windham _. Any last word before we say goodbye and send you off to Tallahassee?
Shout out Mitchell, my future brother-in-law, with the pick and the RTR. Yeah, I'm really excited to start year 5 covering Alabama football, which is crazy. Feel really blessed to get to do this job. So make sure to follow all weekend. Check out my feature. It's not super long, a little short feature on Parker Brailsford today on BamaCentral.com, and follow our coverage this weekend and all season, and keep supporting the Joe Gaither Show. We got some fun stuff coming on the network this season.
Mason Woods, any last words for the weekend? We're getting out of here to get ready to watch Auburn Baylor, and then we're going to be so full on Saturday.
Oh, man. That's it. Just excited for a full weekend of football.
Absolutely. I am skipping lunch today so that I can eat it all tomorrow. We're going to be back with you on Monday, reacting good, bad, or ugly, win, lose, or draw, right there on Monday on the Joe Gaither Show on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on the Bama Central Facebook page. We encourage you, call us on the voicemail line. Let us know what you think of the game. 205-462-7340, extension 800. Follow Katie Windham at Katie Windham _ and follow Hunter DeCiver. They're both going to be down in Tallahassee at Hunter DeCiver, all one word, covering the Crimson Tide. We're going to have a lot of fun this weekend, and we're going to talk to you on Monday right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.